Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, brought to you each and every day here live on KDSJ 479 from 1 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. We had some slight tech issues, but I think we got that thing taken care of because I got the best producer and co-host that you can have. But we have a real packed show. We're going to get you started as a lot of things have been taking place. Daniel Gafford entering the NBA draft. Arkansas in the first round of the NIT tonight, taking on the Providence Friars. The young women of the University of Arkansas has gotten their fate. They will be hosting the Houston Lady Cougars this Thursday night in Bud Walton Arena. And at 1:15 here shortly, we're going to have on Andrew Epperson of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and get off in to talk about this women's basketball program. Also, too, coming up at 1:30, we're going to hear from a prospective big-time prospect of the Fastest 40 from Saddleback College, Sean Stiff. He's going to come on and talk about his interest in the University of Arkansas, what he's looking at, his official visits that he has set up, and much, much more. And we're going to close it out with more Fastest 40 and get you guys ready for Arkansas and the Providence Friars with our good buddy and even more recruiting, Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and Hogville.net. But here we go. We thought we'd show a little tribute to Daniel Gafford for all he's done, from us to here at OTH to Daniel. This tribute's for him, and you'll be much, a lot of highlights from DGTN in his 2 years. And here we go. Andrew Epperson, he's up next. He's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in the moment.
Gafford up to contest. The first game for Gafford. He's had a couple of shots go errant, but he'll try again. Hard off the glass.
Razorbacks on the glass. See those two freshmen battling in there.
First college basket from Daniel Gafford and an and one. He earned that in the paint.
A lot of teams that way, it's tough to play against.
How about that look and a flush from Gafford? Trey Thompson, what again? Daryl making one again. Hello, Gafford with the throw.
Eye on him.
And that's the thing you get with 3-0 and up and over the top of Daniel Gafford.
Barford inside, had it blocked but stays with it, and Gafford is there again.
Jalen just kind of threw that one up at the rim because the shot clock was going down, but what do you know, who came up with it?
Taylor.
And then another block by Daniel Gafford, this kid.
Off of his career high. He's had 15 or more now in all 3 games, and guess who?
After that shot and caused a miss.
Uh-oh.
How many dunks is that in a row? That's like 4 or 5 dunks in a row. Man. He's really getting this crowd into it right now.
And as you can see and hear, the crowd's not tired of it yet.
There, it's about 52%. Touchdowns don't hurt either.
Hand in there.
There's one of your deflections. Party time at the rim. Right there.
Welcome back. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Tuesday edition of OTH, coming to you live here on KDSJ 479, Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And it came out last night. Arkansas's women, unfortunately, were one of the last 4 out of the NCAA women's tournament. But, have the distinct honor of being the lone WNIT entrant representing the SEC, and they start play Thursday.
Well, we actually talked about this last night. I think this could be a really good thing for them to not make the NCAA tournament. You know, some of the issues that the team has at this point would make it very, very difficult for them to advance very far in the NCAA tournament. But with the NIT as a 1 seed, they could very well make some waves. They might even have a shot to go pretty far in this thing. And I agree with you, they should have made it in over Tennessee, specifically because they beat Tennessee, as everybody knows, in Knoxville. But it's just kind of one of those deals where the name on the front of the jersey means a little bit more sometimes, with no accusations flying. And so this could be a good opportunity for them anyway.
When you look at this game, what will be some of your keys? I know you'll be in attendance on Thursday night, but what will you be specifically looking for in round 1 of the WNIT for the Arkansas women?
Well, I think it's just one of those deals where you got to get the ball to the people who are going to score, which is what I think Mike Neighbors also understands. That's a problem sometimes that, certain teams have, where you've got people who are not adapting to their roles and playing their roles, and they're getting up shots that they shouldn't be getting. But, there are probably 3-4 people who should be shooting the ball for the Razorback women's basketball team, starting with Chelsea Dungy, Alika Monk's next, and then Alexis Toll-Free, Jalen Mason, Galden. You can spread the rest of them in there. But if you can get your top two scorers scoring, you'll probably have a good chance to advance regardless of the other superlatives attached to the game.
One thing I want to touch on with you, Andrew, is just the confidence level. I know the ladies were disappointed, as evidence. You should be when you don't get in the coveted tournament that you dream so much about being in. But at the same time, you're coming off a tournament, SEC, where you've gained quite a bit of confidence, and even more so on the national scene. People are starting to talk about the Arkansas women's basketball program. Do you think that we'll see a different team, a team that has confidence, more so than, say, they did 3 or 4 weeks ago?
This goes down to kind of the sports psychology aspect of it. I've been seeing tweets from some of the players that are saying, y'all just get ready for next year and all this stuff. And what I hope that doesn't mean is that they're also looking forward to next year and kind of putting this behind them, because you got to think that with the SEC tournament the way they did, part of it was just trying to play into the NCAA tournament. And so you got to hope that they don't look at this and see, well, this is a big disappointment. Hopefully they see it the way that you and I see it, which is, well, they didn't necessarily make it in the NCAA tournament, but the NIT is still a very quality postseason tournament for them, knowing that they're a 1 seed and, where they were last year. So it will just be, up to Mike Neighbors to make sure that on the sports psychology aspect of it, they stay positive.
When you look at this team, how important was it that, during that, stretch where they lost 8 of 9, and kind of Jalen Mason, and then the young lady that we've talked about here on the show, I'll call her Bacon Soda, also to Alexis Toll-Free, and Atiana Galden, was out about 4 to 6 of those games. How big was that to get them back, IT right before the SEC tournament, then to have Alexis and Jalen come out of the shooting slump that they had been in? How big was that for this team heading into Thursday night's ball game?
I can't say it was expected, but boy, didn't it happen at the right time. I mean, Jalen Mason has shown that she's capable of being a scorer. She kind of had to be in that role before. And then Galden, we kind of saw flashes in the preseason and early in the season of what she could bring, but I'm not sure she was necessarily the most confident individual in the world. But
good point.
Once she came back, it's almost like the team was at a position where she kind of knew her role at this point. Maybe she thought that, I know Malika was worried about it a little bit. Maybe she thought that she could play up to Malika's standards, and it's just one of those deals where if you can play to your role and play it the best that you can, you're going to be in position. And then Toll-Free, she's turned into the player that she was recruited to be. So if they can put all that together here in the postseason, maybe we can start to see what this team will look like when you start to add in a couple other star players in post next year.
When you look at this team, talk about, you mentioned Malika, Raven Northcross, Bailey Zimmerman, 3 seniors that came back and will have the opportunity, Andrew, being ironically 3 in-state young ladies, to put this program back in postseason play. Hadn't been in postseason play since 2013. This senior class, you beat South Carolina, you beat A&M, you beat Texas A&M, you put the team in the program being the first school team to make the SEC championship. Talk about the legacy of those ladies and just the foundation that they'll have left for the program going forward.
Oh, it can only be positive. They basically were there whenever the program was at one of its worst periods, and now you look at this season and it's almost like a turning point where we're not seeing exactly just how great they can be, but they're on the cusp of greatness. And for these young ladies who have been here since the beginning, I think that it reverses what their legacy would have been, first of all, and then it makes them, kind of be in that position of some of the forebears of where this program's about to be, which is incredibly good.
Right. Last question before I let you go, and I want to let everyone know that have just tuned in, talking with Andrew Epperson of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. If there's one player now, let's take out Chelsea Dungy in the WNIT. Who's that one player that you would have to say would be the MVP if Arkansas is to have a championship run?
If it's not Chelsea Dungy, then it's got to be Malika Monk. I mean, it's got to be one of those
right.
two. You can't. I mean, I'd be shocked if it was another person.
Right.
I think Mike would. I'm not sure if Mike would be happy if it was another person either, because that would mean that somebody else must have gotten some touches that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten. So if it's not Chelsea Dungy, it's got to be Malika Monk.
Hi, as always, my man Drew. Love having you on. Great insight, and I'm pretty sure we'll talk on Friday and wrap the first round of the Arkansas and Lady Cougars ball game. But as always, thanks for taking time out on the Hill.
Thanks for having me on, Pat. Always fun.
That was Andrew Epperson of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and a lot of really good insight from Andrew. He's covered the women's program for quite a few years, and Andrew and I have sat in press row, just 2 years removed, and watched. I continue to say I remember times that there was not less than 200 people, and that's counting the media in the stands to see the Malakas and the Jalen Masons, Bailey, Kiera Williams, and to see what these four ladies that had the opportunity once Jimmy Dykes was let go to move on because the environment wasn't so great. They stuck it out, and they are forever, in my opinion, will always be recognized as the four that stayed and brought this team together and brought this program together. And to see those ladies have success, I mean, Jalen Mason, Demetrius, 13 threes, set an SEC record. I mean, tremendous. Raven Norcross Baker had to come through the junior college ranks. Malika and Bailey Zimmerman, came in with Jimmy Dykes, when it wasn't so good, just to leave a legacy at their flagship school and for their state. And for the most part, these young ladies have done a great job. You had Chelsea Dungy, who I think is, in my opinion, going to be the SEC Player of the Year, possibly next year and the year after. I do think that she's going to be SEC Player of the Year one of the 2 years that she's still in Fayetteville, Arkansas. But we're going to step away and take a quick break, and we got a special guest. Next up, Sean Stith from Saddleback Junior College. We'll find out what he has to say about the fastest 40. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a moment.
Left lane, hammer down. Concern for Coach Mills of ORU. Gafford hammers another one. See if the Hogs can get a 50-point half. See if Gafford can get another dunk. 3.5 for Daniel. Had some thievery going today, and he tried to finish at the rim. There's Gafford again. Look out below. The big man buried it. Bowden has it swatted away by Gafford.
Goes to work on Walker. And a nice jump hook shot. That's a couple of taken. To Gafford. Arkansas with the lead. Beard looks inside. Gafford the freshman with the jam. Hello, El Dorado. But if you just get one ball over. Oh my goodness. What a feed for Macon, and Gafford with point. Missouri lead. What a dish. And the finish and run. Gafford slips. Slam! What a shot. What a Fayetteville. Nice look. Oh! It won't go. Throws by DeAndre Burnett. Extra pass. Gafford with the finish. Barford crosses over through the lane. Who? Gafford with the follow. Beard in the front court. Picked up by Gafford. Arkansas in front. Second half, second chance points. Killed Oklahoma State against Texas Tech. Make a nifty drop off and a dunk for Gafford and a foul. Your teammate named Chuck. Exactly. Oh my! Gafford rammed it. First the rejection.
Really moving the basketball well, side to side, everybody getting touches. I guess ought to close out the year.
Gafford the recipient, and the alley-oop works to perfection.
Basketball is causing deflections, getting some loose ball steals.
7 blocks.
Look out.
Oh, baby! Daniel Gafford. Is that a racer?
We heard this block. All leather on that end, then gets out on the break. The windmill. Woo!
This dude can rise. A good looking athlete, throwing it inside, another pass inside, an easy finish. Great. 1 seed to your target.
Here, no, and there's another dunk. Gafford to the hole.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's our Tuesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. And real quick, before we get to our main featured guest, which I call the main thing of the main thing, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Lindsay & Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel located at 735 South Shiloh Drive in Fayetteville. And Locomotion is located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. And lastly, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. And now, on to the main thing of the main thing. Arkansas makes no secret that they have to get a little older and have to get a little meaner and in particular, get a little bigger. So we caught up with one of their main fastest 40 targets of Saddleback College, Sean Still. Big Sean, welcome to the Hill.
All right, thanks for having me.
Sean, talk about your recruiting to this point. How are things going? What schools are you talking to up to this point?
Okay, my recruiting so far is going pretty good. Like you mentioned earlier, I've been in contact with Scotty Thurman and, head coach from Arkansas. Me and Scotty have a good relationship. We talk, like every day or every other day. And then other schools from that, my coach, he's been telling me, schools like Montana's been reaching out to me and to him as well. Idaho. And then he was just like, a lot of schools from the WAC, Big Sky, Big West. A lot of schools have been reaching out to him. And then Oklahoma's been in contact with him, Houston. So it's a few schools, a few big schools reaching out to him.
When you look at recruiting from a standpoint, Sean, when you view your game, what is that you're looking for in particular in that school of choice? What style do you like to play? Are you an up-tempo, half-court, or are you just one of those, you're a ball player, you can play any style?
Right. Like growing up in Oakland, California, mostly my AAU high school, we were more up-tempo, get it and go. When we got to slow it down, we're able to slow it down, half-court set. So it's like me growing up and playing out here and then transitioning to Saddleback, we were more of a half-court, slow it down. So it's like I'm able to play both, and I feel like both is good, switching it up. I wouldn't like to just have one style. I would like to do both, actually.
When you talk with Coach Thurman about Arkansas in particular, what's that conversation like as to how you would fit in here at the university?
I talk to him a lot, and like I said, we talk. One of the main questions I have for him is how would I fit in, and he stressed on it like we need to get tougher, just mentally, physically. And you fit that category. So he came and watched me play for our section championship, Saddleback versus Fullerton. He said one of the main things that stood out about you was your leadership, how hard you play, your toughness, and your ability to score the ball. And then I asked him, how would I fit in at Arkansas? He told me the exact things about my game, how would I fit in, how they needed him, how they needed me there, and what did I bring to the table. And the head coach said the same thing.
I know when you were younger, Sean, you did some leadership things at a very young age, which speaks on your leadership quality. Talk about, just that experience as a young kid and what, life in Oakland, how has that, exemplified your toughness to prepare you for the collegiate level so you can be that leader that so many, like Coach Thurman and Coach Anderson mentioned?
Yeah, growing up in Oakland when I was younger, I seen a lot of things. Most of my friends are either my longtime friends, some of them in prison, some of them are not here with us, rest in peace. So it's like me growing up, you have to be really tough and you have to really have your mindset set on what you want to do, and you can't be into extra nonsense. Oakland is a beautiful place, but just like all places around the world, it has, bad things, bad characters, bad people doing the wrong thing. So me being a leader, I was, younger, I did really just want to reach out with all my peers in school and just really talk to them and see how they trust the police when things are going wrong. will they be okay of calling them? And most of them said no. Because a lot of people don't trust the police out here, which is a problem. So they really didn't have no one to come to or go to when it's, when something's going wrong. So that's why they just handle it themselves. And that's why, like I said, a lot of my peers are either in jail or not here. So it's just like growing up in Oakland, it's a lot of things you can get into. But I'm here to tell you, like, if you stay focused, you can make that anywhere.
When you look at NBA or collegiate players, Sean, that have similar games to you, who are those players that you most like to watch?
I like to watch LeBron, DeMarcus Cousins, Joel Embiid, and Kevin Love. So, like, I have, like, similar aspects they do, like me and them both have. Well, I feel like our games are, a lot alike, being able to dribble, pass, get other people involved, and then, being able to go to work down low and step out and, shoot the shot, go past, and being skilled. So I feel like me and those players have a lot of things in common.
Now, I know you have an official. We spoke last night. You'll be visiting Arkansas a week from this Friday. Do you have any other officials set up, or if so, if not, which ones that maybe you think you might take? Because I think you said you might not take all 5, but do you have a few more in mind that you would like to get out and visit before you make your choice?
As of right now, I really don't have none planned right now besides Arkansas. But when I get back, sit out with my coach, and we're going to figure it out and reach out to, schools are reaching out. So I'm going to set up a couple more. But as of right now, I'm focused on coming to Arkansas on the 29th.
It came out yesterday. Daniel Gafford, Arkansas's big-time post combo forward / center. Very versatile big man. First team All-SEC, has 4 gone on the NBA. His last game here is Arkansas, and we're not playing the NIT. He's going on to the draft. How, when players are able to do that here at Arkansas, Sean, how does that impact or help Arkansas to know that, their bigs, if you were to come here, they have a chance to make it to that next level?
That's good. That tells a lot about the school and the coaching and the play style. Like, scouts are actually looking for people from that school, from the coach being coached, and from the play style they're playing. And he was a very impactful player this year, this previous year. So that tells me a lot about the school.
If it's one message that you'd like the listeners here in Arkansas to know about Sean Stith, the person, what's that one message you would like them to know about him?
One message I would like for them to know is I know what I'm going to bring to the table, which is my toughness, my leadership, my scoring ability, my character rubbing off on my teammates, and being a great person on and off the court. I'm the most down-to-earth person you'll ever meet. Talk to me about anything, and I'm going to go hard day in and day out, and I'm coming to play every night, coming to get a W.
Talking with Sean Stith, big-time Arkansas prospect, 2019 forward from Saddleback College. Last question before I let you go, Sean. When basketball is done for Sean Stith, he'll be doing what afterwards?
I will be having like a lot of businesses. I want to open up a restaurant. I want to open up a psychology. I want to get into psychology. I just want to enjoy my life and just explore, travel the world, and have a lot of businesses set up.
Well, my man, I was talking to you last night, and the segment that we just had, there's no doubt in my mind that you're destined for greatness, and hopefully, we get a chance, if you so choose Arkansas. I'll gladly have an enjoyable time the last 2 years. But as always, thanks for taking time out here on the Hill, Sean.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right. That was Sean Stith, big time, 6'8", 255-pound forward from Saddleback College. Arkansas could use this young man. I've watched some tape of Sean. Sean will remind most people that get a chance to view this, his footage, or get a chance to see him play if he comes to Arkansas. He'll remind a lot of people of the big dog, Dwight Stewart, with his ability to step out on the floor, put the ball on the floor, come off the bounce, shoot the three. He'll be a constant matchup problem. And it's that toughness, Demetrius. When you talk about toughness, when you hear Sean, what came to mind from the big fella?
Really what came to mind was Nolan Richardson, and when he was talking about the type of players that he looked for, having the intangibles and having the players that necessarily don't have all the skills he wants, but have the toughness that he needs in the basketball player, and how he feels as a job coach to teach the players the things they need to know on the court, but he can't teach toughness. So I think with that mindset and that physicality, I think he can develop as a big man, continue to come to Arkansas.
I understand that, the fan base, they talk about Arkansas need to get older. Coach Anderson and that staff have addressed it. Possibly T.J. Cleveland may be on the recruiting trail and not be in attendance at tonight's Providence game. But that's not a bad thing. When you hear people say that, I think that's something that this staff understands, that they have to get out, roll their sleeves up, and they're making that commitment to go get older and go get bucket getters and get leadership, because I think the talent's there. I'm really excited, Demetrius, to see what this team does tonight in their new era. This is the new era of Razorback basketball. These are the guys that you'll see for years going forward. But we're going to take a quick break and give you more of the Daniel Gafford highlight reel and our tribute to GG10. And then next up, more Fastest 40 and recruiting with Kevin McPherson of Hogville.net and AR Hoops. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Hey everyone, it's Pat Jenkins here of OTH. That's right, On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, Sports Talk Radio. We come to you each and every day here, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 on KDSJ 479. Be sure and tune in if you want to hear about SEC and the Arkansas Razorbacks. It's OTH. Holla.
Razorbacks in front by 9. 7-10 game. That's scheduled for a 6 o'clock start on Thursday night. Osaboy finally gets one to fall. That big for Alabama would have been a 5-point game. Isaiah Joe instead makes it a 10-point game. What a swing.
And that's what Osaboy needs to do.
Welcome back. It's On Here with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our Tuesday edition of OTH. And Arkansas will be taking on the Providence Friars tonight at 8:30 p.m. tip-off. And they'll be without GG10. So I like to catch up sometimes, around here. Who's going to be replacements and just how Arkansas is going to fare. So we caught up with our good buddy at Hogville.net, Kevin McPherson. Kev, welcome back to OTH, my man.
Hey, Pat. Good to be back with you.
Let's get off into it. First and foremost, Daniel has decided to hire an agent, enter the NBA draft. Where are you at with that? And then the second part of that question is this a good thing, for this team to start moving forward so you can kind of get an assessment of, the parts that you need to fill in going forward for next season?
I tell you what, Pat, that's a double-edged sword, because I think we're going to find out after this game tonight if it was a good thing or not.
Right.
Hopefully Arkansas can circle the wagons, and they've played stretches with Dan in foul trouble and long stretches where he is on the bench, picked up 2 early fouls in the first half, and we've seen this team actually play well in stretches with Gafford on the bench. Now, that's a little bit of fool's gold, because overall you also saw the team struggle. They were only able to sustain some success for a while, and really if you look at it, they're a lot better with Gafford on the floor than without him. So having said that, for Dan Gafford, I think this was I don't have big issues with this decision. I mean, I'm an old school guy, middle-aged guy, so for me, you finish what you start. That's what Mike Anderson said yesterday in the press conference.
Right.
At the same time, I recognize this era of basketball where, what's Arkansas playing for at this time? They're playing to get better for next year. This is not a championship. This isn't the NCAA tournament. Had it been the tournament, the NCAA, Daniel Gafford's still playing basketball.
Right.
This is an opportunity for a younger team to get better, and we know Gafford's not going to be here next year, so what better way to do it than without him? So I support his decision. Best thing for him, he's in Miami right now getting ready for that draft, and I think these Hogs, Pat, are going to find out more about themselves going into next year.
When you look at guys like Reggie Chaney, you and I have talked about Reggie also too. I think this is a good time for, say, a guy like an Ethan Henderson, even more so a young man like Desi Seals, if Keyshawn's able to play. But Desi and Reggie seem to be the two guys that I think, next year will be counted on that to bring more like an Isaiah and Mason. Is that kind of where you're at, that these two guys could use this as a building block for heading into their sophomore year? Because in all actuality, Kevin, these guys are sophomores right now. And, with Daniel leaving, the season has started a few months early.
Yeah, that's right. Arkansas, and we've seen Desi in the starting lineup for 6 games now. This will be his 7th, and I think his value has increased because when he was playing with the second unit, he was coming in to fill in for Jalen Harris at the 1 spot, and I really think he's more comfortable as a combo guy, not with the main task of handling the ball and running the team. I think he's better moving without the ball, setting up on the wings. His 3-point percentage is up there, much fewer attempts than Isaiah Joe, but on par with him in terms. He's hit 12 of his last 18 threes since getting that starting lineup. So he's benefited from being on the floor with those starters and not being the primary handler. I think so, yes. And I think Reggie Chaney, we've seen him do a lot of good things, Pat, and I think now he's going to get a chance tonight to get extended minutes, probably get a start, and let's see what he does with it. But I think he's a guy that going forward, that's part of your future inside. And I really like Reggie Chaney. I think long-term he's an all-SEC type of guy that could develop into that. But yeah, tonight we're going to see it. Some of these guys maybe turn a corner. At least that's the hope. They could run into a buzzsaw on the road against a Big East team that plays a slow-down game, kind of like Florida did. But let's see them compete in what they do.
The big question is all Razorback fans across the country, and in particular, real heavily in the state. D'Angelo goes on, and people want to know, well, who's going to replace all SEC? All SEC. Can you give us a list of who they might be looking at?
Are you looking for some recruiting names right now?
Right.
Yeah. So obviously you've got Arkansas coming, the JUCOs. I know TJ Cleveland's out on the recruiting trail today in Hutchinson, Kansas. It's the National Junior College Association national tournament's getting started. There's several players Arkansas has been on. They're going to be playing in that event, Pat. And I think there's some senior grad transfers they're really interested in. That's not been a route they've typically taken, but, you're not going to replace a Dan Gafford with one guy. It remains to be seen who else may move on here. But I think Arkansas is trying to get older in recruiting. We've talked about it in junior college and senior grad transfers are a couple of avenues to do that. They've also got a young man, Sean Stith, out of the JUCO, 6'8", 255 forward. I think you had him on your show, but he's going to be at Arkansas at the end of the month for an official visit. Would not surprise me if he commits while he's there. So that would be one piece right there. But, that guy was co-MVP of his conference in JUCO this year. So coming all the way from Oakland, California. He knows Raymond Hawkins, a guy that Arkansas also offered out of Findlay Prep school. But a lot of moving pieces still, Pat. But I know Arkansas is hitting the recruiting trail hard.
When you look on the flip side, on the girls, you do quite the job covering them as well. When you look at Mike Neighbors and what he's done this upcoming first 2 years, getting this team from where they were 2 years ago to barely having 200 people to now they're starting to get a brand. People are and young ladies around the country are starting to talk about Arkansas. He signed the number 11 class coming in. Talk about Coach Neighbors and the job that you see him being able to do, because you had a chance to watch a couple of his potential recruits at a state tournament down in Hot Springs.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent on both sides, boys and girls in Arkansas, and we see it. And Mike Neighbors is already done an outstanding job. I hated it for them that they didn't get picked for the NCAA tournament yesterday. Really felt like they'd done enough with their run in the SEC tournament. You know, they did enough to get in that conversation the last 5 or 6 picks, but really wanted to see them get in. But he's done an outstanding job. And you look at the players out here, Sasha Goforth, Alana Eaton over in the Jonesboro area, Sasha Goforth out of Fayetteville, Jersey Wolfenbarger, who's a sophomore and just got MVP and led Fort Smith Northside to the title and hit the big game winner, 23 points,
right.
6'2" combo guard. I mean, all these girls have size and skill. Destiny Salary out of Jonesboro, Kariah Beck at Fayetteville, the 6'4" girl out of Bentonville,
Miriam Dowda.
Miriam Dowda. Boy, she blocked shot. I think she already holds the school record for block shots and did it as a freshman.
Right.
And there's a girl that was a freshman in North Little Rock, whose name is. I just saw her in a workout with Moses Moody on Saturday. Just really, when you start looking at the size of these girls, all over 6 foot, most of them, and some of them are very, very skilled already. He's basically got a buffet choice here. If he can get in good with these girls of some really, I'm talking next level. I mean, Sasha Goforth, top 10
right.
ESPN and a 5-star. Some of these other girls are right up there. The talent level in Arkansas is great, and Neighbors, what he's done so far, why would these girls not want to go play for him and be a part of something special at Arkansas?
Hey, my man, always, can you tell the people before I let you go how they can keep up with Kevin McPherson?
Get me on Twitter, at ARHoopScoop. And I'm also a contributor to hogville.net.
Well, my man, as always, thanks for taking time out on the Hill, and I'm sure we'll speak here pretty quickly.
Oh, absolutely, Pat. Good to be with you, my friend.
Uh-huh. That was Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and hogville.net. And Demetrius, it seems to be, everybody's okay with the Daniel Gafford decision. I understand he did make a grown man decision. I respect that. But really, tonight's game, for all the naysayers, all the negativity, those people are going to tune in because even though they don't want to admit it, Demetrius, they want to see what next year is going to look like with what's coming back, what's going to be on the floor. I do think, it's a real good time if you're Reggie Chaney, Desi Seals, and Keyshawn Embry Simpson, if he's able to get cleared to play tonight with a very, very, very sore ankle. I think those 3 guys can start taking a step up. You get well, you link in with Isaiah and Mason because I think, and you add Gabe, I think those are your 6 corner pieces. And then you go add about 4 older guys that are bucket getters with that attitude like Sean Stith. Wrap today's show up and what you took out of all 3 of our guests.
Well, Daniel Gafford's the man. Two, I really think the men's basketball, you're gonna find a lot about what's gonna happen. I even think within Mike Anderson's future, you're gonna find a lot of the direction it's gonna go, and I think it starts with tonight. But what I will say to the fans is that they have to come with positive energy. This team is at a crossroad. I think they need real Razorback supporters to be supportive of what they do have. And if they do lose tonight, I think it would hurt the program more for a fan-based backlash than to just support the guys. I think, like I said, right now they need to be supported because they're at a place where they don't really have a true identity, and you don't know what can come from tonight. Because if they win tonight, everybody's going to try to jump on the bandwagon. Ooh, the Razorbacks, they really didn't need Dan, da. So I think the fans should just find middle ground and just be a Razorback through and through and really just support the program.
Now, you did make a good point there, D, in the fact that, if they were to win, people want to pile on and say, well, they didn't need Dan. No. If these young men win, they've accepted the challenge. They're ready to move on and start making, a name and a brand for themselves and showing Coach A and Coach Cleveland and Thurman and Watkins and all these fans what they can do, because this day was coming. It happened maybe a game or a week earlier, but this team was going to form, and now they have their team, and we're going to find out some leaders. I think some good's going to come out of this because I think Arkansas wins tonight. I think they're going to play quite well. those stretches that you saw throughout the year. I saw the same thing. And most fans, Demetrius, that are so negative saw those same exact things, that this team played well in stretches, that Dan was out. But then Daniel Gafford is going to represent the great state of Arkansas really, really well. You heard our guest, Sean Stith. Plays a factor and shows what you can get done here at the University of Arkansas. But real quick, before we wrap these things up, I want to give a shout-out and a thank you to all our guests, Andrew Epperson of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Sean Stith of Saddleback Junior College, the big power forward, came on and talked to Arkansas and just where he's at in his recruiting. And lastly, Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and Hallville.net. Where's Arkansas at, who they're looking for, the status of tonight's game. He talked about